Next up, we got somebody we've talked about this offseason a couple times already. Patrick Peterson, who at one point one of the best, if not the best, corner in the entire league. That's how good he was. So, but that's been a while now because he healed. He's almost as old as Rob.
Ooh,
almost 34 years old, 6'1", 203 pounds. Last year played with the Steelers, 17 games, 42 tackles, 2 interceptions, 11 passes deflected, and a 60.5 PFF grade. He's a 13-year vet now, guys. Best known, obviously, for his days in Arizona when he was an elite corner. 8-time Pro Bowler, selected a little each of his first 8 years in the NFL. Like, that's a really good stretch to start your career off, guys. 8 times in a row. 3-time first-team All-Pro, also a member of the NFL 2010's All-Decade Team. That just sounds weird, right? We're talking about 2010 like it was so long ago.
It really was.
Wasn't that yesterday?
Wasn't Lady Gaga just coming around?
Seems like it. Oh, my God. You know, the crazy thing is, I know we talk about Taylor Swift a lot on this because we like to joke around about her and Travis Kelce last year. But, yeah, wasn't she just coming around to, like, isn't she like a newer artist? No, she's like pushing 40 at this point.
Well, yeah, she also, famous when she was, 16?
I know that, but I'm just saying, like, she's in her mid-30s now, and she feels like she just 35. Came out. I'm just saying, like, we're old now. We're old.
Yeah.
But yeah, Patrick Peterson. Again, the big thing with him is how much left in that tank. He was losing playing time in Pittsburgh. Huh?
So my big thing is the shit talk that he did last year about DJ.
Oh, that was this year. That's what we got to talk about as well. But
yeah,
he talked very badly about Daniel Jones this offseason when he was interviewed for, I believe it was a podcast he was interviewed for, talking about he is not that special and blah, 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 after DJ toasted him twice with the Vikings in 22. Again, not that DJ's that great. That's more of a knock on Peterson for being toasted 2 years ago by Daniel Jones.
So just so those fans out there are like, oh, this is a good pickup, and you guys don't like DJ, guess who toasted him?
Yeah. Like, when Daniel Jones toasted you, like that, and I'm not talking about the low setting where it's got a little bit of crispiness. I'm talking like that sucker, you're like using a knife to scrape off the burnt bits. That's how bad toasted this thing is.
Yeah, we had the stats, but
yeah,
not too long ago.
Yeah, like
go back there and talk about
not good. In fact, there was an old episode we did a segment about that. Just search 2 Giant Goofballs Patrick Peterson. It'll probably come right up.
Yeah.
Give you the exact words he used there. But like I said, I find that hard that Giants brass would be interested in bringing him in, considering those comments, because we all know that the Giants organization thinks very highly of Daniel Jones, not necessarily as a player, but as a person, and that does matter to this team. You know, you can argue all day long, and all Giants fans have, about how good of a quarterback he is or isn't, but you can't argue that he's a decent guy. That's pretty well known at this point that he's a decent guy. He's a stand-up guy. He doesn't cause issues. He leads a team. He does everything you want a starting quarterback to do off the field. It's the on the field.
Except
play well. Just everything you want except play well. But I mean, Patrick Peterson did that. I feel like he closed that door the second he did it. But like I said, the big thing also is that he was losing his playing time in Pittsburgh. He wasn't like doing great in Pittsburgh last year, guys. They even moved him to safety towards the end of the year. There's a reason this guy's available. I think his career is done, to be honest.
It wasn't like Pittsburgh was that good either.
Yeah, Pittsburgh does not have a good secondary. Let's be very clear on that. Pittsburgh just does not. So, yeah, that's a done situation there, where I think it's just time for him to hang up his helmet, enjoy the great career he had, give it a couple of years, he'll be in Canton because he will be a Hall of Famer, deservedly so.
Yeah.
And, move on like that. I mean, he's still, I think, a very good, story overall. Again, we had Britton Golden, former Giants wide receiver and former Cardinal, much longer with the Cardinals, and he had nothing but glowing things to say about Peterson. So, amazing things to say about him, in fact. So the fact that we had somebody who got to play with him, played alongside him, went out of his way to speak very highly about him, says a lot about who Patrick Peterson is. So I don't wish
Yeah.
anything bad about him. If he wants to play, then still, go for it. Still play. You get to make that decision. Just don't be Willie Mays, falling down in Shea Stadium.
Not wrong.
I'm not. I mean, listen, that's way before my time. But if you listen to people of our parents' generation, they'll tell you that Willie Mays was the guy who was like the quintessential example of a guy who just, held
Didn't know how to hang up his jockstrap.
No, and he loved playing, and you can't hate that a guy loved playing at that point, but he wasn't the same player towards the end, and it was sad to see because he was in his early 40s when he finally retired. By the way, he was 42 when he stopped playing. Willie Mays was. So, his batting average in 1973, his last year, 211. Not good.
No.
And he was an all-star, by the way. Probably more for the fact he was Willie Mays, but great player, same as Patrick Peterson. And sometimes great players have trouble giving it up when it's time. I think with Patrick Peterson, it's just time. It's just the speed started to have an issue at that point, unless he's fully willing to commit to safety. But we don't need safeties; we need corners. So it doesn't fit the bill. It doesn't fit the bill.
If you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.